My latest video about GTA San Andreas has garnered enough views to release a new video about GTA Vice City. This is a game that gave childhood to all those who love Rockstar games, and not only. As we know, it's not always after a successful project that another masterpiece comes out, and the whole world of movies, TV series, and games suffers from this. But Rockstar Games once managed to make a hat-trick in the gaming industry, releasing 3 masterpieces in a row. That is GTA 3, GTA Vice City, and GTA San Andreas. The fact is that these 3 games differs from each other in many ways. Their atmosphere is not the same at all. Take GTA Vice City. This game allowed you to experience the atmosphere of 90s of America without even having been there. And as soon as it comes to the 80s, GTA Vice City comes to mind first. And this game has become a universal favorite, and for some reason we still love it. In this video, I want to reveal to you the essence of our love for GTA Vice City, why we still love this game, and don't forget, even after 22 years. Well, let's start watching the video. The first encounter with this game was different for everyone, but my very first introduction to it happened when I was about 4 years old. At the time, I didn't really understand how legendary this game was, and as I mentioned in my previous video, this game was released before I was even born, so I only got to experience it 6 years later. I first noticed this game in my older relative's computer. He was playing it with his friends, entering cheat codes, and I remember them telling, "Let's play until we wreck the car." Basically, if one person wrecked the car, the next person would take a turn. That's how they had fun on the computer back then. As for me, since I was so little, I wasn't allowed to play at all, so I just got used to watching until the age when my parents finally bought me a computer. When they finally bought a computer after my long pleading, they called in a specialist to help fully install the operating system, various software, as well as download a couple of games. Then he asked me, "Which game do you want?" I confidently answered GTA, but didn't specify which one. Although deep down I wanted GTA San Andreas, because my friend and I had played GTA San Andreas many times at his house before. The specialist immediately downloaded 2 GTA at the same time without overthinking. It was around 2008 or 2009. I immediately tried them then, but for some reason I didn't like GTA San Andreas because of the bad sound and poor graphics. At least that's what it seemed to me then. And I loved playing GTA Vice City, and I didn't even realize that it was even older than GTA San Andreas. But the age of Vice City didn't bother me at all. I kept playing it regardless, and I was absolutely amazed by how the game was designed overall. The graphics were so stunning that my eyes practically sparkled at what I was seeing. Just imagine a little boy playing GTA Vice City. I was truly one of those players who spent months lost in it, exploring every corner of Vice City. That's when my journey with this game truly began. The gameplay of Rockstar Games, as I said in that video, is the most important aspect they spent the most time on, and they actually implement what they planned. For example, if you look at GTA Vice City, it's essentially made up of elements that they didn't have time to include in GTA 3. That is, if Rockstar had been given more time to release GTA 3, they would have made Vice City out of GTA 3. But since they didn't realize all their plans in GTA 3, the world of GTA Vice City became more multifaceted and alive. Finally, car windows and tires could finally be shot out, which made the gameplay more detailed. And the cops began to spread ribbons with spikes right in front of the car, after which the car turned into a drift car. The population of Vice City has now become more diverse. Some NPCs were on roller skates, as well as if they were tired, they could sit on a bench. Thanks to this, the game has become more detailed. There are useless but very pleasant little things. For example, if you knock down a parking meter, you could get some cash. And if you help the cops catch a fleeing criminal, you get a bonus as a good citizen. If you took a bus and drove through the stops, the passengers paid for the fare. Pizza delivery was also added to the list of side activities. In addition to new types of cars, sport boats, motorcycles, several helicopters, and even one airplane have appeared. The main character still couldn't swim, but he learned how to enter buildings, rob stores, and change clothes. And this wasn't just useless stuff, but helped to reduce the level of search. New types of minigames have also been added to the map, such as off-road time trials, motorcycle stunts, and race tracks, along with different road-based races. And if you talk about weapons, business, they grew several times after GTA 3, and they could be purchased not only in ammunition stores but also in construction stores and used for other purposes. The main character learned how to shoot while sitting, and in case of injury, it was possible to restore an HP in fast food, which was not the case in the third part. All these features were mind-blowing back then and collectively made the game feel vastly different from its predecessor, creating the impression of huge possibilities. While it might not seem as impressive today, keep in mind this game came out 22 years ago, over 2 decades, and for such a time interval, it was an incredibly well-made game. And I haven't even mentioned the ability to buy businesses and properties, which you needed to purchase to generate income, and each business had its own little storyline with tasks. And there is a lot to buy here, from a taxi depot to an adult film studio. I'm generally silent about the bank robbery. It strongly resembles a part of the 5th part of GTA. In general, at the time, the gameplay alone was able to conquer millions of hearts at once, because Vice City gave us so many opportunities that we disappeared into the game without complaining about the imperfect open world. There was a time when we didn't know what online multiplayer games were, and we could play the same game for years, creating our own fun. But as you all know, gameplay isn't the only aspect of GTA that made us fall in love with it. The plot of Vice City showed us the kind of story that has now become just a classic. It was interesting for us to watch a man who starts like no one else and gradually turns you into a powerful criminal boss. For that time, it was a rarity. We played for Tommy Vercetti and experienced every victory and every betrayal. We literally built our empire with him. Unlike GTA 3, there were no dull characters with forgettable personalities who faded into the background. On the contrary, each character was interesting in his own way and contributed to the overall impression, whether it was a sarcastic lawyer or an unreliable partner. Lance Vance, lawyer Ken Rosenberg, and other characters enlivened the plot with their charisma and unique characters. Vice City wasn't afraid to talk about difficult things that made us wonder, what would we do in Tommy's place? It showed for the first time the brutality of the criminal world, where you can't trust anyone, and that even those close to you can turn against you. Before GTA San Andreas, of course, it was an innovation and something interesting, but after GTA San Andreas, we accepted betrayal as commonplace. Vice City was inspired by cult films of the time such as Scarface, which added to the feeling of something big to the plot, as if we were living not just a game, but a whole movie. Each mission was like a scene from an action movie, exciting, intense, and vivid. For the players of the 2000s, Vice City became something special, a game that defined an entire era. Its plot didn't just tell a story, it created memories that we still come back to. Vice City has shown us that a game can be more than fun. It was an era we immersed ourselves in and kept close to our hearts forever. Although I also completed the game myself at a conscious age, I can clearly say that Vice City is not just a game, but an entire era. And today, reviewing its story, I understand why it became a legend. An unforgettable introduction to the game, insane gameplay, and engaging story, and cool missions are all fantastic. But the first thing that Vice City is associated with its unique atmosphere of the 80s. I'm not even going to list the fact that everything in the game was taken from real Miami. You probably already know that. Instead, I'll say one thing: the clear water, the glow of car headlights in the rain, and in general, this whole neon city caused indescribable delight. I've heard that some people didn't like the atmosphere, saying it was overly cartoonish. But if you believe open sources, the 80s were really like that. Neon was bright, the music was electronic, and the cars and women were real. While Rockstar often composed their own music for games, Vice City stood apart by using legendary tracks from the era, without which this game could not convey half of its atmosphere. I hope you remember which tracks I'm talking about, because I can't show it on YouTube because of copyrights. I still remember how my dad was surprised to hear a familiar song on my computer speakers, though I was simply driving an Infernus with the windows down, basking in the neon glow and realizing that a whole life was ahead of me. As a result, Vice City became the basis for GTA 6, which will be released soon, as well as for such genres of games as retrowave, synthwave, We never actually lived through the 80s, but we remember and feel nostalgic for them because thanks to Vice City, it happened to us in the 2000s. In general, games give us the opportunity to do things we can't in real life without consequences. And Vice City, released in 2002, allowed us a lot. It was a unique game that introduced new mechanics that players hadn't seen before. Even the satirical jokes from Rockstar command special respect from all men around the world. No matter who tries to trip up and sue the company for their joke, Rockstar moves forward like a tank, refusing to let anyone ruin their creations. That's why it's so exciting to see how Rockstar will surprise us in GTA 6. Yes, for some, Vice City is the first game from Rockstar, and many still consider it the best in the 3D universe of GTA, or even among all Rockstar titles. But objectively, this is certainly not the case. Of course, neither GTA 3 nor San Andreas will replace the game, but it's obvious that Vice City will be more progressive in all aspects than the third part, and the San Andreas is also much more progressive than Vice City. Now the game is outdated, and at the present time, perhaps no one enters it to complete missions or just to mess around, because there are newer parts for this. Even the multiplayer servers are not made according to the mechanics of Vice City, because for this there is the mechanics of GTA San Andreas, which is more optimized and with great features. Avid players have long explored all corners of the Vice City map for 22 years, and there's nothing surprising in this game, but this does not mean that the game has not become some kind of classic. Knowing this, I understand that it's time to let Vice City live on in our hearts and give newer games a chance. Because if you didn't know, even Windows 10 doesn't run this game anymore, almost as if to say it's time to move on to new games. But we'll never forget Tommy Vercetti's journey, keeping it deep in our hearts to remember forever. From time to time, we'll revisit it in our nostalgia. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe to the channel, and see you all next time.